I grew up in the firehouse with my dad. Ever since I was a kid, he was a volunteer firefighter with Perkins Township Fire Company, anywhere from an engineer all the way up to fire chief for the company. He led me. I started as a junior firefighter under him when I turned 16 years old. Even got to be a lieutenant while he was chief under my father. He retired as chief in 2001 after having bypass surgery. The deputy chief stepped in as fire chief after my dad had retired as chief. 5 years after that, I took over as fire chief for the fire company as well. So I lived through the fire company through my father. It was such an honor, to be under him as when he was chief. And then as I took over as chief, he was an engineer with the company. So typically he was driving the first out piece no matter what the call was, any time of day. I'd ride the seat next to him, so I'd sit in the officer's seat next to him. And it was a little different, at first to get used to. Usually it was the other way around, but it was a neat opportunity to switch sides.
Like John said, we were born and raised in the fire company. From the time we were little, we were constantly there. I officially joined when in 1992. Just to keep an eye on them, basically. So I was basically, I was the glorified gopher. I would make sure that I called them my perky boys because we were perky yeomen, so I always took care of my perky boys. Um, and then there was, many times I would, go check on him and say, Dad, you need a drink of water. Why don't you take a break, slow down, you're all red in the face. Let's take care of you. And then from there, I actually got into EMS. If you would have told me 20 years ago that I would be a paramedic, I would have said, oh, no way. But I think it's just in the blood.
Yeah,
it's in the blood.
We're definitely a family of service.
Yep.
Yeah. Even my cousins as well that are here is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have no involvement in the fire service. John was my big brother. He always looked out for me, took care of me in many different ways. But until I knew he was active in the community, I heard talk about him all the time. I don't live in the area any longer. I live in Massachusetts. But what really brought home to me what a hero my brother was the outpouring of love and affection from his fellow firefighters. They took excellent care of us as a family, and I'm sure they will continue to do that.
So many times that he even left you there, remember?
When I was a kid and growing up, of course, as my brother and sister said, we were born and raised. I literally had my diaper changed on the front bumper of an engine. I was the third, which my brother and sister had worn him down to a point of which that I got away with a lot more. But my dad, he brought me just like he took them, and he took me to the fire station, and he didn't change. Even though we wore him down as a disciplinarian, we didn't wear him down in the service. So the stuff that he taught him and the stuff that he taught my sister, he taught me. He took me driving the first time in the engine.
Double clutch.
And he told me that the day I was driving, the first time I drove home, he told me if I mess up to pull over. And I couldn't swallow my pride and admit that I messed up. And I tried the darndest to get that truck in gear, and I couldn't do it. But he didn't stop and say, you're done. He just tell you pull over, keep going. and never give up. I mean, he left me at the firehouse. We had gone down there for something, and as soon as I got out of his truck, I would run. I'd find the closest engine I could get into, sit in the front seat, and I would drive. Well, he left me there and got home, and Mom asked where I was, and he turned around. Didn't say
Granted,
a word.
we only lived 5 minutes from the firehouse, so it was good.
He didn't say a word, and he took off and came and back and got me, and I was still sitting in the same spot.
Still pretending he was driving.
One day he comes home from school and he says to me, I'm going to go down to the fire company. I says, but John, how are you going to get there? I'll take bicycle. And from that day on, that's where he spent most of his time. Never gave me an ounce of trouble. He was a wonderful man. I miss him. And what the children have said about him, that was him. I can't say anything else.
He was a high school sweetheart. We'd be married 49 years. And he was just a great husband, a great father. There was things that I found out, went through all this, that he did things that I didn't even know about to help people. He was just that kind of person. And he didn't want anybody to pat him on the back. He just wanted to help.
Yeah, I'll start. You know, one thing that I want people to remember about my father was he was a true leader. Definitely a true leader.
He was an honest, hardworking man.
Dedicated in every respect.
I just say kind in general. He's just such a kind person.
He was strong. Emotionally, physically, he was strong, and he was a motivator to do more, to push more, because he never quit, and he wouldn't let us quit, because if he felt defeated, he'd be behind you telling you, turn this way or turn that way, and get around it, but don't quit on it. And he pushed me, he pushed my brother and sister to do more than we thought we were capable